Hello, folks, and welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. A recent article published in the New York Sun entitled "Nightmare Scenario for GOP Unfolding as Trump Surges in Primary Polls, Plummets in General Favorability." And then the subhead, "New polling suggests Republicans fear that President Trump will win the nomination, only to flop in the general are justified." Oh, justified. Now, full disclosure, I write a daily column for the New York Sun, which I happen to think is a terrific, independent, conservative online newspaper. Second, while I don't know the reporter, his name is Russell Payne, I am told he's an expert on polling and last year had a better track record than most in citing polls that did not show a GOP landslide. Okay. Now, Mr. Payne, for this article, relies on an Ipsos and Reuters poll conducted between April 5 and 6 that unsurprisingly showed Mr. Trump to be the clear favorite for the GOP nomination. Then he cited an ABC Ipsos poll that found former President Trump's overall approval ratings have dropped to a historic low, with only 25% of respondents with a favorable view versus 61% unfavorable. The same poll found President Biden with a 34-48 split, favorable versus unfavorable. So neither of these guys are exactly winning a beauty contest at this point. Now, there are polls and there are polls. Favorability, of course, doesn't necessarily measure a head-to-head battle. There's a big difference. That said, if you go up on Real Clear Politics, you'll find an Economist YouGov poll taken April 1 to 4 with 1,319 registered voters, a margin of error of plus or minus 3 points. That shows Trump 44, Biden 42. There's also a Rasmussen Reports poll taken March 30 to April 3rd, showing Trump up 7 against Biden. Okay, that was taken March 30 to April 3rd, and there were 971 likely voters with a 3-point margin of error as well. And then there's a McLaughlin and Associates poll showing Trump 47, Biden 43, taken April 1 with 1,000 likely voters. It should be noted that Donald Trump is a client of McLaughlin and Associates. Now, there are all sorts of polls showing Mr. Trump pounding Governor DeSantis by margins of some 30 points in the most recent takings. No surprise there. However, to go back to the New York Sun's Mr. Payne, it is true that Donald Trump's favorables are worse than Joe Biden's. Again, go back to the RCP average spread between March 12 and April 11th. That shows Mr. Trump's net favorability minus 17.4%, Joe Biden's net favorability minus 10.3%. They're both underwater. That net is the net of favorable versus unfavorable, in case you were wondering. Now, this is all horse race stuff. And I'm not really usually keen on political horse races because I'm an issues guy. And as you all may know, I believe President Biden to be a practitioner of big government socialism and left-wing social planning, which are policy principles I strongly oppose. And it's no surprise, having worked for Mr. Trump as his National Economic Council director, I support what I believe to be Mr. Trump's advocacy of free market capitalism, most particularly slashing taxes and regulations. I further believe Mr. Biden has taken a strong Trump economy and slammed it into stagflation and probably an impending recession. And I believe Mr. Trump gave us the best economy in several generations. So those are my biases. As always, viewers may agree or disagree, and I respect all of it. Now, I'd love to say that at least some of these polling numbers have something to do with economic policy. Perhaps, but at this stage, probably not very much. That debate is still in front of us. But I will say, judging from all these political horse race polls, that the race most definitely ain't over yet. And that's my riff.